How's it going, Commanders? And welcome to Feca's first server, where we're going to be kind of going over more of like an overview of the game. If you're looking for exactly what to do, I've done Feca's first start video, and you can go check that out. Hopefully, that'll be in the description here. And kind of what this is you're playing the game. Maybe you started, maybe you haven't played it at all. And what exactly like the goal here? Why am I playing? What am I exactly going for? And it's really easy to get lost in that and exactly knowing what you're going to do. And since this is a really long-term strategy game, it's really beneficial to know kind of the end of the game. So how we're going to kind of start with that is just an overall explanation of the game. How I like to explain Starborne. If you've ever played Civilization games, that's more of a more popular 4X game. It's like a 5,000 player version of that, where it's played on hexes. But the main difference being obviously being in space. And then second of all is instead of turns, since there's this many players, if you ever tried playing a multiplayer Civ game, it's basically impossible. You're always waiting on someone to end their turn. So they've kind of transitioned turns into time. So instead of waiting for everyone to do a turn, it's basically a turn just happening every maybe 10 minutes, 50 minutes. It's not exactly because there's a lot of other stuff going on, but this is kind of base overview, what you're kind of doing here. So you got a lot of buildings. You'll see this in other videos as well that you're building, and they have kind of like a certain amount of time that would 15 minutes to build this building, and you can set queues and be able to go offline, and whenever you're offline the game is still playing. That's what people don't understand. You're still there, you're still a potential target, you're still collecting resources like that. Now exactly what you're trying to do on this map, we have this kind of green zone out here. This is where everyone will be spawning, and then you'll be kind of playing. This is kind of the big play area. Obviously you can still be back here, but there's a lot of benefits to being up there that we're going to be kind of going over here shortly. The first thing being is there's this overview page, and here are the three kind of ways of how you win the game. So the first, like most easy one to kind of comprehend for a lot of players is this territorial one, and if you click read more here, you can kind of go through it. And that's just your base claim. You see these, like your color, you'll see this in game, and as you're kind of building and you're playing, is whoever has the most claimed hexes throughout the game. Now this one has a lot of little caveats to it and stuff like that that it isn't directly acknowledged. It seems really straightforward at first, but there's actually a lot of complexities to it, because a lot of like big strategies are clustering up stations and making sure they're really defensible. The territorial victory is making you kind of maybe expand a little bit more and maybe be a little bit more uncomfortable. So I'm really interested to see how this is going. This is actually a newer victory condition for us, even for veteran players. This is brand new in beta, and we'll see. I'm excited to kind of see the new iterations. Now, that one being the most simple, we kind of go here to the Dyson shell victory. The idea of the Dyson shell is it's this big industrial win. At the end of the game, after the 2.5 months, it's going to be whoever has the most shell levels on this Dyson sphere. And it's pumping up as many Dyson sphere levels as you can. It's just pumping resources. I'll explain exactly how to unlock that here in a bit. It's going to be these grand terrestrials, but I'll show you on the map exactly where it is and how to do it. And the third one is the one we're most common with. We kind of understand as veterans what this is, but it might not be totally relevant for newer players. Is there's these little mechanisms on the board, and it's just controlling and holding these mechanisms at the end of the game. And so these are going to be the three ways of like actually how to win the game. Now we'll go over the strategic victory first, and we'll go on the map and say exactly where the strategic victory is. And these are the mechanisms all the way here in the middle. And this is kind of what one of the mechanisms look like. It shows owner ID and stuff because I'm on a test server right now, but that won't show in your case. If you see, this is kind of a red area. This red area will be a lockdown for the first 6 weeks. So this will be kind of off limits, but there is here in the beginning, and you can kind of see these arrows if you turn on strategic points. It's in there. You go ahead and come down here, and these are the little ones. These ones are each currently worth 1 point. And these ones in the middle, I believe, are worth 3 points. Obviously, everything can change. We're still in pre-beta. By the time you're watching this, these numbers may have changed, but the overall idea is that you're trying to collect these. And you're going to do that by kind of sending your stations off. Obviously, this might take a day or two to kind of get over here. If you're sending your ships directly, I imagine a lot of people are going to slow crawl through here and end up here by the end of the 6-week mark. Now, we'll kind of skip over to the territorial victory just because it's a lot easier to explain and something you might notice like when you first play. Without knowing anything else, you'll probably know this. We go down here to, these are my stations I have right now. I just kind of plopped out some random ones. And this right here is considered my claim. Now, this is just something natural as you level up your station. Once again, if you're playing at all, you're naturally doing this. just at the end of the game, whoever has the most of this. And currently they're not counting any claim that's in this green area, just because this is where the spawns is, and there's not a lot of reason to be there, and they're kind of encouraging you to kind of push out, get in here, because of this third objective, which is the Dyson sphere victory, which are in all 6 of these arms. And you can kind of see them here, these big glowing structures. And how you unlock these and how you kind of control these as an alliance is there's these grand terrestrials. And veterans are kind of used to what these are. This is something that's been in the game, and that's how you unlock. You have to own a majority of the Dyson sphere, majority of the grand terrestrials in an arm to unlock the Dyson sphere. And once you do that, you're just pumping tons of resources into it. You're building it up. Whoever is the highest level Dyson sphere at the end of the game will be declared the victor. So that's kind of like the 3 victory conditions. And I mean, you're pretty good overall. Your alliance in general, you're going to want to pick one of these and hopefully kind of gun for this, kind of make some alliances in your area. You know, if you're going for the territory victory and you're kind of over here and you know someone's going for the Dyson sphere victory, but hey man, you stay to your side, I'll stay to my side, and you know we'll kind of work it out, and maybe we can ally together. Maybe we can both fight. Hey, if you help me with the guy that's going for territory over here, I'll help you with going for, you know, this other Dyson sphere guy. So I see a lot of that kind of stuff happening, and just kind of be aware that that probably will be happening. If you're not doing it, you know, your enemies are probably doing that. So I would like to reiterate that this is definitely a team game, and that's also going to be one of the first things you're going to want to be doing. You're joining the game and you're hitting the game, looking out, talking to your neighbors, even if you know they're your enemies. Go ahead and like start a rapport with them, start talking to them. This is also a game definitely heavily reliant on Discord, if you have that, or any kind of third-party communication software. It's a really highly involved game. So make sure you're using any tools at your disposal, like a Discord or something like that. The other part of this game that we haven't really gone into too much is the fact that you have this shipyard here, and this game revolves around ships. That UI will look a little funky because I'm in test mode, but in general, I want you guys to know that a lot of people will look at the scoreboard, and that's where like you'll see influence up here. Influence doesn't take into any kind of consideration what your military power is like, so this is all good and dandy until someone comes to attack you and take down your influence. The other big part in this server specifically, and this is something kind of new for everybody because going into beta, is we have way more. These are all NPCs, or non-playing computers, just guys that are just hanging out, and there's all kinds of different types of them. If you see different names for different ones, Combine, Xox, and Tiancho, I'm probably butchering all those names, but regardless, you guys gotta see that there's just a field of these NPCs. As an alliance, you're gonna want to join up an alliance and be clearing out these NPCs as much as possible. It's worth noting that if you guys saw the GTs and the mechanisms, these are all guarded by NPCs as well. You're gonna have to take these out. It's definitely a highly militarized game, and at any point, anyone can lose the game. That's another big kind of selling point, at least for me. I love games where you can kind of just, you know, everything's on the line. It is very hard to take someone out, so don't take it into super consideration if you're worried about, you know, not logging on for a day or two and all your stuff being gone. That's definitely not going to happen, especially if you're in an alliance. It takes quite a bit of effort, but it is a possibility. And it is a PvP game. You will be taking out stations. You will be losing stations. So in general, when you're looking at this game, just kind of like overall, don't be afraid to lose stuff. Don't be afraid to play the game, right? And that's going to be evolved, especially now that we're all going for these different win conditions. We're all kind of crossing paths and stuff like that. You're going to be involved in a lot of stuff. Kind of embrace it. It's definitely an amazingly fun part about the game. And contrary to popular belief, you will bounce back. You lose your stuff, it's completely possible to get back into it and continue playing. So don't get discouraged. And I really hope to see you guys out there.